So it's so wonderful to have all these change makers amongst us, and it is a huge pleasure now to introduce the Women's Earth Alliance. We will refer to them as WEAR. So founded in 2006, the Women's Earth Alliance has implemented 125 women's environmental and entrepreneurship projects in 18 countries, training, funding, and catalyzing 5,000 women to advance safe water, clean energy, regenerative farming, women's land rights, and much, much more. WEAR's model creates cascading benefits. To date, WEAR leaders have equipped over 1 million more people with life-giving environmental solutions. WEAR's vision is that the women worldwide who are safeguarding a thriving home for all of us are never alone, and that they have what they need, not only to survive, but to thrive. Their mission is to equip women with the skills and tools they need to protect our earth and to strengthen our communities from the inside out. They work with leaders who build up other leaders. 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 4, 4 become 8, and so on. In 2017, in direct response to the divisions and the violence that we face in our world, we have joined forces with URI to launch the exciting Ripple Academy, a coordinating training curriculum that supports women leaders to build peace and to end conflict whilst creating impactful social and environmental solutions. And these solutions improve conditions in the regions, they uplift more women, and they create global ripples of change. It is a huge honor to welcome here Amira Diamond and Melinda Kramer to accelerate peace. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It is such an honor to be here. And there's 2 of us standing here, but we represent thousands of women around the world who are taking a stand for this earth. And we're joining the hands with them and hands with our URI community around the world. And it couldn't be a more powerful direction for this work to move, as Sadhviji just described so powerfully. We'd love to start with a short video about our work.
We truly are in a very precipitous time. Precipitous in terms of, do we choose to continue as a species here?
What would the world look like if women protecting the earth were supported and united? Every day, we work to answer that question. We identify women leaders in some of the most underserved and environmentally threatened parts of the world, and we support their leadership because we know these women have the answers. They know what they need to do. All they need is a little bit of support and connection to other leaders.
Immediately, the thing that stands out is the boldness of Women's Earth Alliance in mixing the sacred and the technical. In addition to talking about the legal frameworks and ways to get involved, there are also spaces to have real hard conversations about what are some of the colonial, racist, classist, all kinds of dynamics that each of us are carrying inside, and that if we don't take a very hard look at those as advocates, we will just be perpetuating the problem, and that in itself is quite radical and important work.
Those who are currently advocates in this network, they're asking the right questions, and they want to help. And they understand the need to be open-minded and to learn something from our indigenous peoples on how we can work together.
A really important part is to create a network of empowered, of resourced and mobilized grassroots rural women leaders and trainers who will then spread this knowledge to their networks, to other women's groups. This is not a top-down model where we have experts who are teaching women about these techniques. It is really the exchange of knowledge and solutions that these women leaders have been already implementing in their communities, and most importantly, bringing back the dignity into the traditional knowledge systems of women farmers, which has been completely eroded in this larger paradigm of industrial agriculture.
It's working with people who are working with real farmers. And it's just not, armchair thinking and armchair practice. It's local resilience which counts. It's local participation that counts. It's about people who have to deal with it, not in the future, they have to deal with it today. I feel that whatever little I can give back, I want to give that back in my lifetime.
The power of change, of transformation, when groups of women work together. You can feel the emotion in the room when the women are singing, when they're sharing stories. It's quite amazing.
The solution lies with us, and the answer is with us women. I expect them to get down to the ground, and myself included, get down to the ground and build a mass of grassroots women who are ready to talk in their communities, influence decisions and advocacy and lobby for change in various development aspects within our communities.
There are times that I face challenges and I look back and say, wow, what brought me into this? But a moment after, when you see that you brought hope to people that has no hope, you forget about all this, and the joy springs up within you that you're affecting humanity positively.
Everything that we did here is literally going to ripple out in 30 more ripples. I can just see these like little raindrops just rippling out.
People always say to me, why aren't you working locally? There's so much work to do right at home. Why are you doing global work? But this is a small planet and we are so close to each other. Local is relative. We are all in it together. There's nowhere that's not local here.
I know that we are transforming this world, and I know that we are inextricably linked. We are an unstoppable movement of women, transforming, rising.
There are so many people that have money and they don't know where to spend it, and they spend it lavishly. But in this organization, they have the law of human being, and they have seen our need. For them, devoting their life, their money, and their time to come and help us in this country, we are very grateful.
So what we're all trying to do here, what each and every human being that came and gave up these days when they could be doing anything, but each and every person has chosen this moment to make a difference, to make use of the gift of life by giving back to each other, by giving back to make sure that there is a future for humans on Earth.
So hopefully you can feel and be with some of the women and people who are part of this incredible growing alliance that's opening our arms to incredible partnerships like URI. The story of Women's Earth Alliance is similar to URI's founding. We were founded in 2006 with 30 women from 26 countries coming together with a common understanding, an understanding that we were standing on the shoulders of generations, a tradition of women fiercely protecting our earth and our communities, and also a troubling tradition and trend of women being disproportionately impacted by every environmental issue that our world faces. Women are 11 times more likely to die in a climate-related disaster. Women literally hold the toxins of our world in our body fat in a more significant way than our male counterparts. Women are walking long distances to fetch water or fuel, and they're missing out on contributing to our economies and to the vision and the solutions for our future. And so this group came together. Kaisha Atakanova from Kazakhstan, who personally, with her group, mobilized the support to stop nuclear waste from being commercially imported into her country. And Patti Luis Corso, who saved the Sierra Gorda mountains and made them protected for generations to come. And Sizani and Gubani from South Africa, living in a place where the drought was so bad that mothers were having to feed their children clay. And providing the food security and bringing women together to change that. And these leaders knew that there was thousands others that they could touch. If they could build a power base, build an alliance across cultures, across religions, across sectors, to come together with the solutions of our time, and to share that and build that with our grassroots alliances. And so that's the beginnings of Women's Earth Alliance, and here we are 13 years later.
I'll flash forward to one of the most, I will say, one of the most significant years in WIA's growth, which was the meeting of United Religions Initiative and WIA, which very quickly turned into the merging of hearts, minds, and models. And together, we have launched an absolutely action-oriented interfaith women's empowerment and environmental sustainability initiative that we call the Ripple Academy, because it's based on the belief that when women have these skills and tools, the solutions that they bring to bear ripple throughout communities and throughout our world. Always, WIA has had this strain of doing peace-building work and conflict resolution, which exists so much around issues of natural resource management. And URI has such a rich community of women's leadership that the natural convergence of our two organizations has led to this academy that was launched last fall when WIA and URI came together in India, and we had the great honor of working with WIA's team, Alice and Jaya, and I thought it was our team, and our collective team, and the URI India group, Bishwadeb and Subi and Katub, and together we put out a call for nominations for women who could participate in the Ripple Academy, and they came forward in numbers. And we selected women from throughout India and Nepal, Adivasi women, Hindu, Muslim, Christian, women 20 to 60 years old, representing their cooperation circles, their NGOs, representing their communities, and working on issues alongside implementing solutions related to water protection, plastic pollution, regenerative agriculture, tree planting, land rights, and so much more.
There was Kalpana, one of the participants from Hyderabad, where there was an urban lake that serves 7 million people of that city that is toxic and is poisoning the groundwater and having people become sick. Well, Kalpana came to this program committed to doing something about that problem. Her work was already underway, and with the support of this network, with access to training and getting her impact and her design and her solutions together, she was able to go back into her community and get a multi-sector campaign together that has permanently protected that lake. And for the first time, she wrote us the other day that for the first time they saw fish again in that lake.
So ultimately, what this work is about is a plan. It's about a plan that we can implement that can uplift our communities from the inside out and really bring forward the grassroots leadership that we all know here in this circle is critical. We look forward to the years to come and to the rippling of the Ripple Academy throughout WIA and URI's networks. And thank you for having us here today.
Mm-hmm.
No,
yeah. Are we sitting? Are we sitting? Yeah.
Thank you, Melinda and Amira, for your wonderful work. We are all in it together. That was a key message that came through for me. We are all one family. How are we going to take collective action? It's clear our planet is in peril, but is there something we can do on an individual level? How can we become better stewards of the environment? So as we are bringing chairs onto the stage and before we invite our panelists up, I would encourage you to think about one small change that you can make in your own life. one lifestyle change that's going to help mitigate the impact of climate action as we are seeing today. And maybe we could share some of those at the conclusion of this panel. So could I invite some of my wonderful panelists now to slowly join me up on the stage. In form of an introduction, I would like to say that as women's lives and well-being continue to be disproportionately impacted by the ongoing violence and the injustice and the oppression that we are seeing, we're seeing the impact of environmental degradation. Interfaith peacebuilders are here to ensure that these critical issues are engaged on a global level. So this session is going to explore the issues with on-the-ground examples, and we're going to invite our participants into dialogue around strategies for women's empowerment and environmental sustainability. So I would like to invite on stage Despina Namwembe, Swamini Adityananda Saraswati, Sophia Painikio, and Monica Willard. Please join me on the stage. Let's have a round of applause for these wonderful women. Thank you so much. So we have on our panel some wonderful change makers, doing things on the ground, translating words into action. And we are really looking forward to hearing from you and learning from you. And maybe there are things that we can replicate in our own communities as well. So let's start then with Despina Namwembe, who is the regional coordinator for URI-Africa Great Lakes. Please inspire us, Despina.
I thought I was going to be the last one because because it is actually late in Africa. So I say good evening from Africa, and I'm so happy to be here. I want to say that there are two things that I've learned in my way of empowering women or empowering anybody. That we have to learn to embrace the social-cultural dynamics, or to learn the social-cultural dynamics of those people that we are trying to empower. Because sometimes we come with the understanding that we know so much in the areas where we want to empower people, and it really doesn't help. I've learned the bad way. Some of the learnings are so embarrassing because I came with the understanding that I know so much to certain communities when doing my work. So I had to change, because you come with all these value judgments of a particular community, and you feel you know so much and you can empower from your own perspective. But that didn't work for me. So I had to do it in a different way. And I started by doing baseline surveys to get to know what people really need, how they relate, to get to know them a little bit. And the other thing that I really tried to do, and my second point on that, and maybe my last one, because I don't know how long we are supposed to speak, was basically to try and ensure that the people that I'm trying to empower own the process. Because if they don't own the process, they will not sustain it. Because, for example, if you're targeting women, and you know that women are your primary beneficiary of whatever you're trying to empower them with, also, maybe you, like in the case of Africa, you have to also empower the men, because if you don't empower the men, they make most of the decisions in the community. So you have to ensure that all these categories of your primary and secondary beneficiaries, they own the process from the word go when you start the empowerment process. And this has really helped me to move some of my work forward so easily, because I understand, first of all, the social-cultural dynamics. I try not to impose value judgments on these people. So I walk into the empowerment with a clear mind and understanding of the people that I'm dealing with. For example, a small example. In Africa, in most parts of Africa, not the whole of Africa, if you found a woman and you said, oh, you've added a little weight, you look great, she will say, thank you. So you come to the United States and say that? I think you'll be hated forever, you know? So some of these things are really about the local setting and understanding people, whether you're working with the refugees or you're working with the young people, try to let them, or try to understand a little bit about them.
Thank you so much, Despina. Educating, empowering, energizing. These are three key parts of ensuring that people on the ground take ownership. So once we've completed that process, we want other people to continue, to take that ownership and take things forward to a new level. Thank you so much for sharing, Despina. It is now a huge honor to introduce Monica Willard, our superstar URI representative at the United Nations. She's already graced our screens yesterday, and it's wonderful. Monica, please do share about some of the fantastic work that you are doing.
I am so excited and so honored to be here for the entire conference here, Accelerate Peace. You've chosen to be a part of something that is so needed. And I was trying to decide what would capture some of the meaning that we've heard from already this morning, how interrelated, how one we are. And I want you to kind of hold your hands in a little cup. You are holding the fate of the planet in your hands. What are we going to do? What are we going to do together? I ask that question for two reasons. The first is you have to bring your heart and your spirit into anything you choose to do. And when you start with that and with a purpose, we can accomplish a lot. We've heard some tremendous stories today. We've seen the amazing work of GIWA. We've heard from other people all day yesterday. But it's up to us to accelerate peace, and we're not going to do it alone. So what I would like to invite you to do is to consider a program of action that many people are thinking about and working on. And it is a week in September, although it actually is only 6 days, so that you can add the 7th as opposed to resting. You can choose how you're going to apply your action. From September 21st, the International Day of Peace, to September 26th, the day for the total elimination of nuclear weapons. We are carrying some very important dates in our hearts and in our hopeful plans as you hold the fate of the planet. The theme for the International Day of Peace this year is Climate Action for Peace. We have to integrate it. We have to work together. It has to be women and men. It has to be children, elders. It has to be all of us taking action for peace. And all of the actions that we can plan, whether it is in a tiny village, whether it's in a major city, whether it's in your church, your synagogue, under a tree, at a library, we can do something. And one of the things that we got I think, a wonderful start yesterday as we were looking at nuclear weapons. And in each of your packages is the nuclear prayer. I invite you to join us for prayer on both September 21st at 12 noon, because that has been the International Day of Peace call since it started. The first International Day of Peace opened the General Assembly on September 21st in 1982. It was a resolution from 81, so there's always a question, do you count it from when the resolution passed or when it was first done? But we count it as September 21st, 1982. There was another International Day of Peace that changed the world in a different way, because the International Day of Peace had started on the opening of the General Assembly which in 2001 happened to have been September 11th. And being in New York City that day, I saw peace in action. We were surrounded at St. Bartholomew's. I went into meditation with Audrey Kitagawa. But we saw a city that really cared in the face of a disaster. And I bring that to mind because it is our charge to make sure there is never a disaster, another nuclear disaster. So it is essential for us to take care and to really apply our prayers, our spirit, our actions, our walks, and keep in mind the day for the total elimination of nuclear weapons. And I want to remind you that this International Day of Peace is on a weekend. There are so many activities being planned within the URI, at the United Nations, and on September 20th is the Student March for Climate Change, which was announced this morning. It's also the day that we will be having 800 students at the UN with Messengers of Peace. And I hope that we will be able to see a familiar face on that screen. So we will see if our wonderful youth from yesterday will be chosen by the UN to be the moderator. She has been suggested, and we'll lobby for that hard. And so I just want you to hold in your hand the fate of the planet and make plans to join the week for climate change, the week for peace, looking at the Sustainable Development Goals, whatever you choose to do. Invite as many people as you can to join you. And join me now with the way I'd like to end it, by using the prayer that I use so often and that we use so often in this organization. May peace prevail on earth.
Thank you so much, Monica, for your call to action and for describing the wonderful work that has been going on for years now, especially that around International Day of Peace on the 21st of September. So we encourage everyone to get involved there, and let's work as a team and let's take this forward. And just touching on the SDGs, you know, they are so important. However, every SDG will fail if we have no drinking water or no water to farm with. So that's why we need to take action now. Let me now introduce our next speaker. It's a privilege to introduce Sophia, who is the Mapuche Indigenous leader. She is also a URI Global Council trustee. And I'd also like to introduce Maria Crespo, who is translating for us. Thank you very much.
Chipianam. Inche, pita niñuke, dengunge pingelu. Mari, kompuche. Mari, repeat. Mari. Es importante.
It is important
saludarse.
That we greet each other.
A la distancia. Y ese
even though we are distant.
Y cuando uno saluda, debe saludar en voz alta para que todo el mundo escuche. Aquí por los vidrios no van a salir muchas nuestras voces, pero para conectarnos con el entorno, para saludar a todo el mundo que nos rodea, esa biodiversidad es saludable.
When we greet each other, it is so healthy that we say this in a loud voice, so that even the plants, everyone knows that we are greeting, that we respect each other.
Es una forma de demostrar a nuestra Madre Tierra que estamos sanos, que estamos a gusto, que la queremos.
This is also a way of showing Mother Earth that we are happy, that we love Mother Earth, and that we are here in a good relationship with each other.
Mari, es decir, que somos todos iguales. Los seres humanos tenemos 10 dedos, los otros seres también son nuestra familia.
So when we say Mari, we are saying that we are all equal. We all have 10 fingers. Nature is also part of us, and we are equal on this Mother Earth.
El itofilmongen, la biodiversidad,
Biodiversity.
Son nuestros hermanos, nuestros parientes mayores y menores.
Our biodiversity shows us that we are equal, that they are brothers and sisters of us. Mayor, minor, we are all in one.
El pueblo mapuche, la nación mapuche en Chile, está sufriendo de sed, su tierra y todo su entorno.
The Mapuche land is suffering thirst. Its people, its environment.
Las aguas, las vertientes, los ríos que bajan de la cordillera, de las más altas cumbres.
So the water that comes down from the high top of mountains, that come in rivers that are spring waters,
no están llegando a los lugares de nuestros espacios o territorios.
they are not coming to our places where we are settled.
Porque se han hecho muchas represas, pues.
Because many dams were created in the place.
Porque se ha contaminado el agua, se le ha puesto cloro y una serie de líquidos para limpiar el agua. Según el agua está sucia, lo que sale del cerro está sucio.
So, because of the chemistry that has been given to the water, these waters are polluted. These waters are not safe for us to drink.
Todo el mundo está desnaturalizado.
The world has become denaturalized.
No le demostramos amor, respeto a la naturaleza.
We are not showing respect, love to nature.
Nosotros, los indígenas, visitamos los cerros, aguas de vertiente, los ríos, los lugares donde están los administradores del agua para conversar y llevar un regalo y decir, aquí estamos, gracias por darnos vida.
We often go to the hills, to the spring waters, and we sit with them and tell them that we love them, that we appreciate them, that we are there gifting them something because they are giving us so much.
Pero eso ya no se está haciendo.
But we indigenous people do that, but not everybody does that.
No es accesible para nosotros una montaña, no es accesible el río que pasaba por allí.
So we used to do this and it was easier for us, but now it is difficult to get close to the river or close to the spring water or go up to the mountain.
La naturaleza necesita visitarse, así como nosotros nos visitamos en nuestras casas y nos saludamos, nos abrazamos, nos respetamos, nos llevamos regalos y nos compartimos.
So we often go to a neighbor's house and take presents and we greet each other and we have a conversation. Nature does need that too.
¿Por qué no somos creíbles cuando estamos desde un escritorio con un libro en la pizarra diciendo hay que cuidar el agua?
We are not credible when we are sitting at a desk, reading a book, giving orders. We have to take care of water. We are not credible.
Sí es importante educar.
It is really important to give education.
Pero un momento en el año, en el mes, tenemos que hacer esa manifestación, abrazar la naturaleza.
At least once a month we should go and visit nature. We should leave our desks and go where nature is.
Y toda la contaminación nos ha provocado nuestras propias enfermedades que tenemos hoy a nosotros seres humanos y los demás seres vivos se están muriendo porque hay el agua contaminada, el agua sucia.
So this has brought a lot of illnesses so that we are not in connection with water and with nature. Is killing us because we are not only water is polluted, we are polluted. We are ill because of this pollution in nature.
El agua es el primer elemento para nuestras vidas y para toda la biodiversidad. Electrofilmongen.
Water is vital for us, but also for biodiversity.
Podemos aguantar estar quizás con el sol un poco escondido, pero sin agua no vamos a vivir mucho rato, mucho tiempo.
If sun does not shine, if it is not there for a while, we can still live. But if we don't have water, we won't be living anymore.
Qué importante cuando hicimos la ceremonia del agua y dice Dan Fromm, dice, esta agua viene de Naciones Unidas y la usa para ceremonia.
How important it was when Don Fru came to us and told us that the waters that he was presenting is water that came from United Nations or from different parts of the world.
Es lo más hermoso que he escuchado esta mañana.
This is the most beautiful I have heard this morning.
Que en Naciones Unidas
that in United Nations
se preocupen de traer agua de todos los puntos del mundo.
That they are worried that to bring waters from all parts of the world.
Para hacer una ceremonia.
To have a ceremony here.
Así lo hacemos los mapuches cuando hacemos nuestra ceremonia en nuestro altar.
Mapuche people, when gather around the altar, always bring water.
Pero eso no significa que no debemos visitar el mar, no debemos visitar el agua corriente, los ríos, los esteros, yo no sé traducir Trayenco, Huichunco, Traichaico, las cascadas, donde nace el agua. En Mapudungún lo sé, en castellano tampoco.
So she says that she doesn't even know the name in Spanish, but what she is saying is that it's nice that we bring water, but it is also very important that we go to water, that we go to the springs, that we go to the river, that we go to the lakes and visit them.
Desde allí viene el agua limpia, nace el agua limpia. Nosotros la contaminamos.
Clean water comes from there. We pollute that water.
Ayer se hablaba de ignorancia.
Yesterday we spoke about ignorance.
Es verdad, hay mucha ignorancia para los propios pueblos originarios hoy.
So there's also ignorance for indigenous people here too. Indigenous, not here, indigenous people too.
Indígena y no indígena.
Indigenous and non-indigenous are ignorant.
Sí, tenemos que conocer, tiene que haber acercamiento, tiene que haber acompañamiento.
There has to be closeness, there has to be accompanying.
Respeto.
Respect.
Cuando no hay respeto, se hace de una sola forma, cuando no hay reconocimiento.
When there's no recognition of diversity, there's no respect.
Todas las formas de manifestación de los pueblos originarios y de las culturas son muy importantes.
All the manifestations of the different cultures are very important.
Tenemos que avanzar de acuerdo a la ubicación geográfica donde nos encontramos y respetar ese lugar para que puedan empoderarse de con sus propios valores.
It is important that we enhance the values of the places we go and we visit and bring that so we are respectful of different cultures and ethnicities.
Sí. Muy bien, sí. Bueno, tendría muchas cosas que decir.
I have a lot of things to share with you.
Uno a veces quiere decir cosas lindas para que nadie llore, nadie diga, otra vez los indios están reclamando.
So sometimes we want to say beautiful things so that people in an audience feel, oh, that's nice. They are not protesting. They are not crying. Indigenous people can't be crying again.
Pero sí tengo que decir que
But I have to say,
en mi tierra está lleno de árboles exóticos
my land
foráneos
is full foreign trees
que han extraído con sus raíces el agua.
And because they are foreign and they are not adapted to the place, they have taken all water.
Se mueren muchos animales, toda la biodiversidad se está muriendo, hasta la flora y fauna.
In my place, animals and trees and plants are dying.
Además, hay una contaminación acústica.
There's acoustic contamination.
Porque las grandes empresas forestales
because forestry enterprises
pasan con mucho camión y camión.
have a lot of trucks and machines.
Y el camino es puro polvo, no hay cemento.
And because, of course, it is land, it is not pavement.
Y tierra que se va ensuciando, las casas, la ropa.
So clothes and houses are getting dirty.
Y el ruido,
dust,
el ruido de los camiones que pasan.
Contamination of the noise of the trucks are affecting all of us.
Bueno, dejo aquí para que otra persona pueda hablar. Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sophia and Maria. If I could just pick up on a couple of points. Mother Earth is giving us everything, but we are not giving Mother Earth the love and the respect that she deserves. Water is our life, we all agree. But what about life in water? What about the plastic bottles of water that are entering the oceans and entering the bodies of sea life? So as we continue to have these discussions, especially into the break, let us not forget those who are impacted. Be the voice for the voiceless, those who live inside the water, who are seeing the impact of human waste going into their life, into their journey, into their environment, and are suffering horrible consequences as a result of it. It is a huge honor now to introduce our next speaker, Swamini Adityananda Saraswati, who is Director of Programs, Policy and Development of the Global Interfaith Wash Alliance, and is also an at-large trustee of the URI. Thank you.
My beloved friends, I am so grateful to be in front of you today, with you today, and together today. When I was a little child, I used to get in trouble in school all the time by looking out the window and just staring at the trees. And I'd like to invite you to join me in doing that right now. Just look out the window, just for a minute, at the beauty, the green, the way the sun hits the leaves. How beautiful it is. I invite you to remember your walk to this building today. The fountains, the grass, the smells. How beautiful is our world. I'm so sad today because of the map that's over my head. And I invite you now to please take a look at it. This is a NASA map right now that shows 3/4 of the world is turning into desert. And that includes right here in California. My friends, it's not because God is smiting us. It's not because we're cursed. It's because of the choices that we're making as society that's turning our beautiful green world, the sights, the smells, the glory, the animals, the birds, all the creatures that we love so much. It's dying, my friends. It's dying. Kieran said something so sad today. Last month, the United Nations itself said 1 million species will be going extinct. 1 million. The animals we grew up loving and knowing about in our little books. Tigers, lions, rhinoceroses, elephants. They'll be gone. They're going, my friends. The beautiful places you grew up learning about in your storybooks will be gone also if we're not careful. If we're not careful. In India, I just left there a few days ago, and I have to admit I was in bed half the month last month because it was 120 degrees. We're used to having what's called the 9 days of heat. It means it gets so hot you can barely bear it, and then the monsoon rains come, and everyone opens their arms and glories in God and rain, and the life regenerates and renews. The crops bloom and everything is beautiful once again. But for the first time ever, the 9 days came, and then 10 days, 11, 12, a month, more than a month, and it got hotter, and the rains didn't come. And I was lucky because we have a well, and we have the Ganga, the Ganges River in front of us. But so many children right now, so many women, so many people are outside right now while we're sitting here, waiting in line for hours, for a little water, for their families. Within 10 years, India will have 600 million people. 600 million people with zero water. 600 million people, zero water. Imagine, that's one nation. One nation. Imagine, now what does this mean? It doesn't just mean no water to drink. It doesn't mean when I'm thirsty, this cup will be empty. It means when the crops are thirsty, the fields will be empty. It means when the people are hungry, the plates will be empty. And that's just one nation. And you look at this map. By the year 2040, now that's only, really, it's 10 years away, my friends. In 10 years, our world will have half the water that we need. Half of it. Half of it. What does it mean? Mass migration, mass genocide, mass displacement, mass hunger. It means if we don't do something right now, we'll regret it the rest of our lives. But it also means we can do something right now. It means we can do something right now. And I'm telling you this, you represent the people of this world. You represent the faiths of this world. You represent the hearts of the universe. And yes, that change can begin with you. Can I give a couple of quick examples of how? Number one, let's start locally, because people in California have been asking me, okay, it's in India, but it's not affecting us now. What can we do? Number one, the reason why the water is going is not just because the planet is getting hotter. And this is something we all have to really keep in mind. 85% of the water that is being used right now is being taken for agriculture. And half of that water is being wasted. We need to start looking at better ways of farming. And this isn't something to turn off on, okay, I'm not a farmer, I don't care. We are consumers and we are voters. And Californians, I'm going to speak to you right now because you have great power. Your power is in your vote. And I know this because I've been watching the great state of California, what you can do when you have your will, when you have your way. The fact of the matter is, what has been happening around the world is that we've been drilling, taking all the water out from under the earth and not putting it back. And so we're feeding crops across India and across the USA and across Africa and across anywhere else you want to look at. But as we do so, the water is not going back into the earth, and that means we won't have water to drink. So number one, we need to start saving our rainwater. What it means is here in a campus or in a city like this, if I dropped this water onto the floor, it would slosh off. It wouldn't go underground. If I poured it into the grass, it would go underground. We need more green spaces. We also need to channel the water that is sloshing around on our cities into underground reservoirs and hold on to it for the rest of the year. I saw here as I was walking up, there's a little grate that said, don't throw garbage here because the water goes straight to the bay. It means the rainwater that's coming down a few times a year, because this is a drought-prone area, is going straight to the bay and is not being used. That is enough water to last you the whole year, my friends. It's enough water to last the whole year. You don't need to drill down. You don't need to worry about the next drought if this water is actually utilized in the right way, in an easy way. And I invite you to look it up. Look up ways that you can start doing this, and you'll find YouTube videos, and you'll find tutorials, and you'll find, wow, this is easy. Amazing how easy it is to save the world. For the farms, it's so easy. For the farms, the same thing. They need to start channeling the water back underground and using it, drip irrigation. The water will stay where it needs to be, and our environment will be what it needs to be. Now, one last thing I want to show you, because I don't have a lot of time. I want to show you a miracle. Do you want to see a miracle? All right, do you want to see, Audrey Kitagawa, do you want to see a miracle? Yes? Sadhviji, do you want to see a miracle? Victor? Yeah? Everyone wants? Okay. I'm going to show you a video, and this video took place in China. The Loess Plateau is the size of the Netherlands. And it was a farm area that became so degraded that it became desert. And the dirt fell off the mountains because there was no plant life anymore to hold it down. The water, when it came down, it fell into the river with the ground. The river rose up because all the dirt was now in the river and flooded everyone downstream. And the people came together. The people came together and they said, let's replant. Let us come together as a community, let us hold our hands and let us plant and let us bring it back. Now, John, can you please show this video, 1 minute video? And I ask you, don't look away, don't look at your little machine. 1 minute, just look at this up here, okay? And then you can look at your machine. So can you please play the video?
When I first filmed Mr. Ta Fuyuan and his colleagues back in 1995, I had no idea this initiative could achieve such dramatic results. The effort that people put into converting their slopes into terraces has resulted in a marked increase in agricultural productivity. The higher yields are directly related to the return of natural vegetation in the surrounding ecological land. Now when it rains, the water no longer runs straight off the slopes. Trapped by the vegetation, it sinks into the ground, where it is retained in the soil, taking weeks and months to gently seep down and irrigate the fields and terraces below.
My friends.
thing now. Time is running out. That's the important message. And time is running out. We have 4 minutes left. In those 4 minutes, I'd like to quickly go over to Amira and Melinda. One quick, simple thing that an individual can do in their daily life to make a difference.
We are consumers and we are voters. And there is something we can do in our communities to ensure that we have... I love what you said about how we are consumers and we are voters, and the choices that we make individually and collectively are significant. They're creating the solutions that we want to see replicated in this world, and so every choice we make, that's our offering. That's the reciprocity. That's like putting the water back in the ground.
I'd say, if you don't know the answers, find someone who does and become friends with them very quickly and bring everything you have to that relationship, and seeds will bloom.
Yeah, one small thing.
I'd say find someone to work with, share your knowledge, share your friends with the issue, and choose to hold the fate of the earth and transform that by working on one little issue with a group of friends.
Thank you.
Be open to learning and connections across the globe.
Thank you.
Realize your power, realize your divinity, realize you can do it because you are brilliant and you've been chosen by God, and this is your time.
Thank you.
Ser responsable individual con cada uno como vive.
Be individually responsible of what you do and how you live.
Thank you so much. If I could just offer one of mine, one of the single most powerful things we can do is to try and adopt a vegan lifestyle. Sustainable living, sustainable taking ownership of what we put into our bodies, and look at the impact that will have. So that would be my contribution. I would like to conclude by thanking all of our wonderful speakers, Sadhviji, Amira, Melinda, all our wonderful panelists here. It is clear that actions speak louder than words. And in order to make any change, I would like to quote the Mahatma Gandhi, "Be the change you wish to see." Thank you.